serve at saveourwater.com.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
Somebody somewhere, best beware my crew. Coming from a city where no pity is shown, and everybody wanna be a G when they grow. Same song in my hood as it is in yours. They seeing real G's to the pen and scores. Wars caused by Joes, snitches and punks. Speaking on the homies who the quickest to dump. Same fools riding have been down for years. Considered as the shits knit around their peers. 3 cheers to the turf for whatever it's worth. Cause I'm a representative till I'm setting the dirt.
Hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And you know somebody somewhere best be wearing my crew.
Right.
Well, that's what's up with the VIPs on RSVP. Come through and
ready to walk it out.
Man, always. And come on, with the Roger and Zapp sample, Heartbreaker, that's it right there. I think Heartbreaker originally came out in 1981, 82, something like that.
Oh, I wasn't even there yet.
You weren't alive yet?
I was not alive.
Was I? I was alive. Gen X in the building.
I was being baked.
You were a thought?
I was more than a thought in 81.
You were a realization?
They knew I was coming.
They knew you were coming.
In 81.
All right, well, here's a realization, right? Jada Pinkett Smith, we talked about she has a autobiography that's dropping next month, a book tour. I'm going to try my best to be in the building.
You know what? My friend actually, my attorney invited me to. She wanted to see if I wanted to go to that. And I was like, I don't know about that.
I'm curious. I want to see.
Not that I dislike Jada. She's just such an interesting figure to me.
She's polarizing to people.
Very polarizing. And in my mind, it's just like one of those things. It's like, stay away from that.
And here we go, 6 Degrees of Separation. Who would have ever thought Nicole from 21 Jump Street? That was Jada's first role. I remember watching that in 91 with Holly Robinson Peete.
Yeah, Holly Robinson Peete, I love you. Love her. She's so great.
Shout out to them. But Jada posted, and it's been buzzing around social media the past few days, and it always comes up, every couple of years. It's a clip of Jada and Tupac back when they were attending school in Baltimore. They went to that performing arts school together, and they are rapping. I guess it had to be 86, 87-ish. Parents Just Don't Understand by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And we all know the Fresh Prince is Will Smith, who's her husband. And we know Will is a little intimidated by the Jada Pac situation. And some people feel that Jada is pushing the envelope. She's being insensitive by posting her photo. Well, it's not a photo, it's a video. But by, sharing that moment that other people are sharing and is out there. So I want to know your thoughts. Andy, you look fired up. What you got to say?
It just had me thinking, as you were speaking, that there's never really been a true moment that I can recall where Jada has spoke of Will in such regard the way she does Tupac.
You think so?
Yes. I can't think of a time where she just spoke about Will in such
I feel like
positive.
They spoke about each other like that in the early part of their relationship. I feel like there was, in the early 2000s, this beautiful, beautiful Essence magazine cover an accompanying article with them. And I really feel like that is the kickoff for a lot of people to their love affair with Will and Jada as far as their couples goals or, ideals or whatever. I feel like, that spread, and it was certainly around the time, I believe, when they hosted the BET Awards. And, it was this whole thing about Black beautiful love and their relationship. I just think that the rumors, and when they decided to start addressing them or being more open about their struggles, people are like, well, why are you doing that? Why are you moving this way? I mean, I think about, too, people often forget, And I think that this plays a role in their relationship too. We've talked about the regret and Will, admitting that he tried to force an ideal and image stuff on Jada that he knew, going back to the communication thing that we were talked about, that there are things that they very much differ on, and I believe they found a way to coexist and compromise at this point, but early on probably was somewhat of a struggle. And I think that, she made her concessions. She gave up some of her career for him and things like that. And, now we're on the other side. And people don't always like that. But I don't know. Trent?
I don't really like speaking on people's marriages and their relationships, or at least try not to. But just on the outside looking in, I think that Jada's a little obsessed with her friendship or relationship with Tupac. I think that she's in love with him. She's always been in love with him and just had to take a back seat because he was not in love with her in the same way. I think it's a little weird to dance in a video with a man that we all know that you was in love with to your husband's.
But they didn't. This was in '86. Neither one of them were famous. They didn't
I get
know
all that.
Will Smith.
I get all that. But to tag him now, all these years later, some stuff you could just leave alone and just leave for the archive. That's just a home movie that you watch at the house and ain't nobody ever see. I have videos of me and celebrities right now. They know I'm friends with these people.
She didn't put it out there. It's been circulating. It's been circulating for years. I think that people overreact. I think that was Pac one.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
You were friends with Tupac.
Yeah.
You knew him. Y'all hung out. What was his commentary on Jada, if you don't mind me? If you feel like if you can say that.
Well, what I can say is when I knew Pac, Jada was not Jada that we see today. It wasn't, like that. I did not see them around each other a great deal. Can only really think of one occasion.
What did he say about her, though?
I mean, I don't know that, there was actually any conversation. That was his homegirl. That was his friend. We were friends.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean, the group of us and that. So I don't think that there was too much of a deep dive into who she was or what they were. It didn't seem... So on both fronts, it didn't seem at that point to be anything connected to them other than friendship. Again, didn't spend a great deal of time, don't have an extensive situational standpoint to pull from, just maybe once. And again, it didn't seem like either one of them were pining or in love with each other, waiting for the other one to work it out. And so I don't know that I can say I don't think that she was so in love with him at this time and he wasn't checking for her. It didn't seem like they were checking for each other outside of this is my homie and this is my homie. Yeah.
Okay.
So now what happened later, if some feelings happen in death and so forth, that might be something different. But I didn't see anything like that. So I kind of feel like even too, this unrequited love thing that people put on her, I think is more of a projection than a reality. And I do think to a certain degree, she plays into it. And especially now, I think she's leaning all the way into it because she wants a New York Times bestseller.
Okay.
And that's just what I think. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, we have to get into this Young Miami story. You know, Diddy just dropped a new album, Love, Off the Grid. I like the album, by the way.
Haven't heard it yet.
Just a side note. Should check it out. Track 2, Feeling It. There's a track with You're Not a Lie. I can't remember. Obviously, don't know the names of the tracks yet, but I'm feeling it. It's a vibe. So to accompany that, Diddy has a new podcast, right? And it's called the Love Radio Podcast. He secured it with Apple Music, you know, same place where Queen's Radio was with Nicki Minaj. Drake had his OVO radio show there. So, you know, this is what happened. Great way to promote your new project as well. So on his first episode, he had Young Miami as a guest. And, you know, he and Carisha are together real bad, or, you know, they're friends, whatever their situation is. They are off the grid, right? So during the conversation, Carisha asked Diddy to share how many rounds he can go in bed. So we're going to listen to it.
So how many rounds you be going?
You know.
The people don't.
You know though.
I know, but the people don't.
Okay, so
I'm asking for the people.
What's the answer? What's the answer?
Baby, let me tell y'all something. On the witch yacht. This don't go to sleep. I be like, I'm gonna tell y'all something. For real. I already thought that I was gonna like make him tap out. Like I already thought he was gonna be being out no chance. This don't go to sleep. Like I be like, go to sleep. You gotta be energized, you gotta be charged up like a Tesla.
When you going off the grid with me, you gotta go to sleep for a week.
Yeah, because it's definitely giving no sleep.
So, what I want to know is, as they always do, they invite us into the group chat, right? And we like it there because we're nosy. Maybe you're nosy. I'm curious. But Is talking about one's sex life still an effective marketing tool? Is the shock value all gone? Do we really still care? Forensic accountant is volunteering that he lasts for one round and one round only.
But that one round could be 2 hours.
I'm just telling you what he said. He didn't put any parameters on it.
You don't know how long that one round is.
I'm
though.
not asking. That's not my concern. That is forensic accountant's concern. He shared what he wanted us to know. I repeated it, and I didn't ask any questions. I know. I'm just making it clear. So, but seriously, do you think that at this point, sex as a marketing tool is overdone and ineffective?
Sex always sells. And no matter what context it's in. People love talking about it. They love, whether they want to admit it or not, it's something that people are going to like, whether period.
They're curious?
Yeah.
Okay. Urban Spinster says Diddy needs some rest because he looks tired now. Eyes red as heck and bloated. You know, Diddy, he had his, F It Friday, which was for De Leon and blowing trees.
Not bloated. She is hilarious.
He's 53.
I was about to say he's middle aged. The dad bod is in full effect.
So, this isn't Run the City with Diddy.
Right.
It's, middle-aged Diddy. So he's
dad
in a
bod Diddy.
Different time frame, different flavor. Listen, they are about what? 25 years apart? Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. And she says she can't keep up. Diddy needs to share his secrets then.
Well, that's kind of true because I feel like men in their 40s tend to go a little bit longer.
That's not how that goes.
For who?
In general, for the population and studies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, listen, I understand you get all the beta blockers.
Because I was about to say, excuse me, what? Because, listen.
But in theory, men reach their sexual peak much, much earlier than women do. That's why they're always off. Women reach theirs a little later.
I'm going to disagree.
Men reach theirs earlier, and that's why the timing is off.
I'm going to disagree.
How you going to disagree?
Well, clearly he's in his 50s, and she's telling you that the man can go all night. I'm looking at you, and I'm telling you, I'm going to disagree with that.
You think that Diddy's the norm and not the exception?
I think men peak way later because I know some 20-year-olds that can't last an hour.
I don't think that men.
Maybe it's just
later.
me.
Perhaps. I don't think that is the case.
Andy, you want to read Forensic Accountant's follow-up comment?
Tell that, Trent.
Okay. And the Forensic Accountant is it sounds
Forensic Accountant just said he has one round in him.
But you don't.
Singular.
But again,
one.
I'm gonna double down. You don't know how long that round is, though.
If the round is too long, it might be a problem. And
that's not true.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Wow.
Wow. Back to you, Andy.
Some weak work.
Diddy must be overdosing on some Tonkat Ali. And for the fellas, for the 20-year-olds that can't last long, it's just a lot of excitement for them. You know what I mean?
It's the McDonald's diet.
That too.
Okay.
I'm with you on that. But for the 50-year-olds, I mean, I don't know. I'm not 50, so I can't speak on it. So I don't know.
That the little blue pill was invented for a reason. It is one of the highest selling drugs out there. It changed lives. There is a reason
for that. Yes.
Urban Spinster says, hormone loss is real in middle age. Loss of sleep, weight gain, etc. Diddy taking something to go all night. I knew some 40-year-olds taking Cialis. And Forensic Accountant follows that up with, a man with sense knows to practice his free throws before the game.
And not only that, I'm into my 40s, okay? Over 40. The Cialis is not something that it's so many variables to this. I sleep 4 hours. I'm overweight. Okay, what's up? Like, and it's trust me, it's longer than an hour and 10 minutes or whatever. Like, listen, I'm in there. Okay.
Well, fortunately for you, you're on the right side of things. Some are not.
Yes.
Diddy seems to be. I heard one time that Diddy was into tantric sex. There's books about that. You
Yeah,
could
that's
research it.
that's some stuff right there. Now that's probably why you're going all night.
Perhaps. That's what I had heard, though. But supposedly, Love Off the Grid is a good album to get your practice strokes in.
Oh, really?
To go all night. It's a good album.
Interesting. I might have to go listen to that.
It's definitely a vibe. It is definitely I'm chilling with the boo, and we're gonna have a quality night in with each other.
Well,
type of
I need
vibe.
to go find a new date so I can listen to this and vibe and vibe.
You should.
Oh yeah.
So.
No prospects on the horizon right now, though.
Maybe there will be. Check your DM.
Hopefully. I don't respond to those.
Okay. So we know everybody has been trying to show up and show out for Beyonce, right? And you would think that a former member of The Rock, that they wouldn't have any problems getting into the situation. But Memphis Bleak was recently on the Drink Champs podcast, with Noor and DJ Effin. And he jokingly, but seriously, shared his experience of having to go to Jay-Z to get some Beyonce tickets for wifey. I mean, well, yeah, we're going to check it out.
Yo, listen, for me to get Beyonce tickets was a problem. My wife hit me like, yo, she in Philly on my birthday. I'm like, all right, cool. What that got to do with me? You try to send me in there for the war, baby? Like, so, all right, it. It's wifey. I got to hold it down. So I hit all the top dogs. I ain't going to even say no names. All the bosses.
They don't work for Ivy Park. They be like, I don't work for Ivy Park.
No, they ain't even say none of that. All of them said, yo, Bleak, what, you bugging? You know you got to hit Jay.
All right.
So I'm like, I tried not to, but now I gotta hit you. I got to. I tried to go around and save it, but now this message gotta go to you. Like, yo, big homie, I need some tickets for the show. It's wifey B-Day. Trying to turn me the ticket guy now?
So Jay had jokes. I like Jay-Z's sense of humor, I feel. He's a SAG, though. So SAGs are funny. We keep that in mind.
Kinda. Well, I'm not even gonna say kinda. They're very the most Sagittarius people I know are they're very hilarious.
You have a good time with them. I believe that. So
you know what? I was just with my I told you I have a Sagittarius homegirl from high school. I was just with her the other night. Shout out to Candace.
And you guys had a good time.
Oh, we had a good time, baby. That parking lot conversation was, oh my God, I live.
So I mean, shout out to Bleak. He tried to go around to other people. But he went to his homie, and then, of course, he posted a picture of him and Jay at the concert.
But that's how it is, though. You usually try to go around. You don't, you and I know we don't want to call in favors, and we want to try to, do the things the appropriate way. And, we eventually have to just make the call, because what happens is if, for these concerts, if you want to go and they find out that you didn't call and ask them, they start to get offended. So
The Rock was in the building.
Yeah.
So listen, we got to talk about Stephen A. Smith.
We always talk about him on the show.
We talk about
frequently.
Why. Let me tell you why, right?
He got me in trouble last time.
Because of his opinions.
Yes.
This is the thing. One, I respect what Stephen A. Smith has done as a black man in the media industry and how he has positioned himself at ESPN, a network that fired him and, by his own words, left him for dead. I respect the climb. I respect that he tries to put other young black journalists, women, people of color on. You always got to respect that. But I thought Marcellus Wiley's comments were particularly interesting. Marcellus Wiley is from Compton, went to Columbia, so he's Ivy League educated, had a radio show with Stephen A.'s former First Take partner, Max Kellerman, Max and Marcellus, that was here in L.A., one of the top radio shows. They had really great chemistry because Max also went to Columbia. They didn't know each other when they weren't there at the same time, but a really good show because they had good chemistry. Sometimes, even if a person is great, two people don't have great chemistry, right? But I thought that the way that Marcellus positioned certain things in reference to this was quite interesting, especially when you think about the fact that we were talking about black men in media with power, and when that power is rescinded, and what it actually means in the grand scheme of things, and what happens when we kind of pit two against each other. So here's some of Marcellus's comments.
Stephen A. felt threatened, point blank. There ain't no way around it. He got Max fired, put off the show. It's hard to say fired because Max got other opportunities, but as Stephen A. knows, those other opportunities were less. And those other opportunities were without favor. Stephen A. said this on the podcast, Joe Budden. Once Stephen A. ain't messing with you, it's going to be hard for other people to look at you the same or to rock with you. Stephen A. knew what he was doing. He gives the upstairs management an ultimatum that you can't work with him or me. Why? Because he's smart? Because he's smarter than you? Why? Because on black issues, T.O. says, and T.O.'s right, he sounds blacker than you. Why is T.O. right? Because you proved he was right. Not because he really sounded blacker than you, because you and your response. One, you took T.O.'s comments so seriously that you got out of character with T.O. Two, you got out of character with your partner. Three, you still talking about that, and it still gets to you because it got to you.
So, my thought, he went on to say a bit more. He said that it was interesting that Stephen A. is taking this approach about being pushed out and standing up for Shannon Sharpe and telling his story when he essentially is doing the same thing or did the same thing to Max Kellerman. So he said, how can he stand on that comfortably knowing that he's doing that to someone else and that it's not a race thing, but simply a thing of Stephen A. showing that he's intimidated and made to feel insecure. So I thought that it was interesting because what does it come down to, right, when it's about a black man in power and it's a chemistry thing? Because I do think that First Take lost a bit of its sizzle with Stephen A. and Max, but I don't know if Max should have lost his job. The show is probably better now, but I don't think that that makes Max someone that was bad. But why is Stephen A. taking this hit to her now? Because no matter what, throughout the whole period, as Marcellus pointed out, First Take was always #1 in the ratings. It never slipped. So what is therefore the real problem? Trent?
There's a lot that I'm processing. I think when black people get into spaces that are ran or dominated by white people, there's a certain kind of grab or hold that we kind of have to take to, hold our position. And I think that's kind of where some of the insecurity comes in his case, because he is a bit insecure. You can kind of see that with all the yelling and the aggressive I'm taking over the conversation that he does.
Is that entertainment? When we come hold your comment. Yeah. When we come forward, we'll get more into Trent's comments. I know that someone else has some comments to add to this conversation. If you have any comments, 800-920-1580. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next. Somebody somewhere, best beware my
recognized game when it's all in your face, off safety, close range, hit in the mask when I ain't then shoot out the window with a coupe dump with the gas. I swoop to the low key spot, the lay low from the do now. I put my gun away cause they got done away. By the rather pull the trigger type figure, see the stages of mics and shooting gauges off bikes. It's like living and dying while laughing and crying in the same breath. You gain less, messing in a lesson. I'm stressing for real unless you feel that you're strong enough to go long enough. It ain't nothing but a thing. Can you hang up bang? Similar to a gang hit you up. And on this mic I ain't nothing nice.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis with the latest from the Black Information Network. The Federal Reserve is holding off on raising interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell made the announcement today, but added there could be another rate hike before the year is over. Black Colorado football head coach Deion Sanders is condemning the threats made toward a black Colorado State football player after their game last weekend. On Tuesday, Sanders said Henry Blackburn is still a young man trying to make it in life and does not deserve a death threat over a game. Blackburn was flagged for unnecessary roughness after a big hit to CU star Travis Hunter knocking him out of the matchup. A new trailer is being released for the upcoming Hunger Games prequel. The cast includes famed black actress Viola Davis. Several nominees headline the 2024 Pro Football Hall of Fame ballot. The NFL announced its list of candidates on Tuesday, and pass rusher African-American Julius Peppers is one of 9 first-year eligible players up for induction. And that's the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Water. All of life depends on it. So, for the love of water, California, everyone has a part to play when it comes to reducing water waste. Let's make conservation a way of life. Find ways to conserve at saveourwater.com.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
When my family does Walt Disney World Resort, we do it big.
Bippity boppity big, like Cinderella Castle.
Uh-huh, big, like those juicy turkey legs from Gaston's Tavern.
It doesn't get any bigger than the Tam Tam Drummers. Get it, Grandma.
Yeah, and big like Goofy's kicks. Oh, yup.
Yep.
It's your world, so do it big at Walt Disney World Resort.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent scent, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580, the show where we hit off all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. We're in Hour 3, which we call the After Hours. It's where we, relax a little bit, get a little looser, get into, a little more. So, Trent, I know I hit you with the pause button. Let me hear it.
I just think he's full of himself at this point.
We're talking Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, I think he's full of himself at this point, and unfortunately, sometimes when we get in these positions in these corporate environments, it tends to go to our head. We, tend to take on what I like to call the master syndrome.
The master syndrome.
We start acting like them. So I think that he's probably falling victim to that just a little bit.
Just a little caught up, just a little affected.
Just a little bit.
Andy, what do you say?
I don't think it's any of that.
Okay.
If you watch the whole diatribe with Marcellus Wiley, he broke it down 100%. One thing about Stephen A is a businessman, right?
Right.
So Stephen A has always been called a coon. If you listen to a lot of his takes, you would think that he's probably Republican.
You think so? Because
100%.
Marcellus, one of the points that Marcellus brought up that I thought was interesting is that he said Stephen A. wants to be the voice of black people. And that is what the position that he wanted to take on First Take. And one of the problems he had with Max is that Max was very not that he spoke this per se, but that Max is very educated on a variety of subjects, and he didn't take on the role of the nodding his head white man, which I found was interesting because that's not a trait or an archetype that we usually subscribe to white men in these situations. But Marcellus was saying that that's what Stephen A. wanted to take. I'll let you finish, but Republican, I don't know if I think that. Old school Gen X misogynist for sure, but that's to be expected with his age.
Well, Stephen A. has been on Fox News several times. He's had I forgot the dude's name who hosts Outkick. I can't think of his name.
Jason Whitlock?
No, not Jason Whitlock. The other white guy.
Travis
something.
Clay Travis.
Clay Travis.
Yeah.
There we go. Boom. They've been on each other's podcast. Where I think Clay Travis was on Stephen A.'s podcast. So you see Stephen A. on these platforms.
He was with the Cowboy Cop.
You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of question, right? And then when there's like certain situations that happen with black athletes, and you listen to his standpoint, it comes from a place of like he doesn't have that cultural understanding that like a Max Kellerman had, right? So to your point about what Marcellus had to say, yes, Stephen A. did want to play this black role, but also at the same time, he wanted that dynamic, right? He wanted the white guy who I guess wasn't educated on black things, right? So Stephen A. could play the quote unquote black savior. But the thing is that Max Kellerman is woke, and quite frankly, even more woke than Stephen A. Smith.
And that's what Terrell said, and that's why Stephen A. is still pissed.
And that's really where the insecurity comes from, because yes, Stephen A. did want to play the role of a black man, you know what I'm saying? I speak for all black people, but he didn't realize that when he brought a white counterpart, you know what I'm saying, that, yeah, essentially Max Kellerman did come off a little bit more blacker than you.
Max definitely had a deeper knowledge base, a deeper range. Aubrey Sinclair in the chat says, you can't be the voice of our people as long as you get a check from the establishment. That is something to consider. JSwan922, who is in my Instagram live, says that Stephen A. can be an opportunist. And he also says that's why T.O. called him out. I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, that did affect Stephen A. It's been a while since that happened. I didn't realize until he brought it up that T.O. then went back and tried to sue him based on reading that text message out on the air. But Stephen A. had some points that he brought up about Terrell when he asked the question of, when has Terrell really stood for black people? T.O. has stood for himself, and he's a black man within the context of these things. But if we're being fair, there are some moments socially when T.O. maybe was in another place as far as with his blackness, right? So, I mean, I think that they both made some valid points, but I do think that Stephen A. might want to just bring it back just a little, because he does seem to be overly feeling himself, and it seems like people are taking this opportunity to start taking shots at him and taking little chinks at his armor. And of course, that's going to happen regardless. If you don't have haters, you're popping. You're always going to have haters, but I just don't know business-wise how great it's.
Well, it's not like Stephen A. is going on a campaign talking about Max Kellerman. These podcasts want to know that information. So,
they do. They ask questions. I mean, and here's the thing. Everybody wants their opportunity to have the conversation and ask a question maybe in a slightly different way than someone else asks, or pinpoint a point of the conversation or something that has happened that they would like more detail of. So I think that it is fair. But what I have noticed is that as the conversations have gone on, Stephen A. has, begun to get more expressive about it. His chest is poked out a little bit more. He's taken a couple of more shots. Like when he said, well, Max wasn't a journalist or an athlete.
That was unfair, right?
That I feel like that was a little unnecessary, Stephen A. And here's the thing. You didn't care about that when you picked him to sit across from the desk from you, which Marcellus also said. Yeah. And again,
they were always number one.
Exactly. So all of these things say, hey, why you got so much heat? What's really going on?
Yeah.
Trent, any last thoughts?
No.
Mm-mm. You're like, and that is it. When we come forward, we're going to, maybe not. We're going to talk about it right now. Our Tubi movie review.
Well, I was going to say this too. Things like this, when people have these weird personality traits, it always comes out in the wash at some point. So.
I mean, it does. Jay Swan says the truth hurts. It does. Sometimes it really does.
Forensic Accountant is going to find a clip from Stephen A. Smith back in the day, and he's going to post it.
I know he said it involves Stephen A. Smith yelling at Jackie Reed on his show back in 2006. Shout out to Jackie Reed, the OG. Wasn't Jackie Reed on BET? She was one of the
BET
OG
Nightly News. Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to her.
Oh yeah, and about the screaming, like it's a shtick.
We know that.
That's what he does.
Screaming
y'all.
Stephen A.
Like, come on, y'all.
Listen, I mean, in the media business, especially at the time when he was coming up, you have to do certain things to establish yourself. There is an entertainment factor that goes into all of this. Nobody necessarily wants to see two dull, unanimated individuals engage in conversation. Okay, that's the reality. Now, has embraced debate maybe hurt some things in sports media? Some could say maybe yes. But at the same time, they are the conversations that we all have amongst ourselves. So why is the expectation that on television there be a great difference from what we do one-to-one?
What it's hurting is probably the journalism business.
It is.
Right?
Facts.
So I understand those who came up from the newspapers and, the whole journalist background. I can understand that. But, I mean, look at the athletes now. Look at some of these entertainers. they're coming in being media personalities.
They all are,
themselves.
and they don't think that it's not a problem to them that they don't have, as much as they talk, oh, well, the media people, they can't talk about it. They didn't play. They don't have, they don't know this. Do we have that perspective of an athlete that actually played? No. And that is why we look to you. But to say that they don't have a perspective at all, that they can't comment on what they see, why are there fans of the game then? They're not playing. But they're sitting there enjoying it, watching the same thing, making a judgment, making a decision on who they're going to be a fan on if they think this play went a certain way. And we have no problem with that. So I think it's a little arrogant to think that because let's be clear, it's a whole lot of ex-athletes that are now media pundits with their own podcasts and things of that nature. And they have no problem with assuming those roles and thinking that they don't belong there or that they don't got it. They think that they can roll in and fit in just fine. So I think, one, put some respect on the journalist's name. We work hard. We take our craft seriously. And the ones that don't, you see it, and disparaging people that are doing the research and have a different opinion is not going to help you win.
My bad.
Go ahead.
You're a journalist too.
I am a journalist.
So, I mean, I guess you kind of answered the question, I guess, from a
Go
journalist.
ahead. Let's go.
Mean, how do you feel? I mean, I don't know. I don't think you do the sports thing, like you do stories for sports. I could be wrong.
So here's the thing. I am not going to be a play-by-play person. That was never my goal. I am not trying to be a beat writer or was I trying to do the beat, like going to locker rooms and following the story like that. I have no desire to do that where I am currently, but I respect it. And what I do, even in these stories, I'm going to tell you that research is paramount to me. I research things. I look for backing history. I look for both sides of the argument so that I can understand what the problem is, what the opposition is, so that I can present it. I think that that is something that is key as far as a journalist. Now, some people say journalistically it is wrong to discuss rumors. I mostly deal in entertainment because they say that you shouldn't present a story that you don't have the facts for. And I understand that. But what I will do is, if it is a rumor, I will tell you as such. And I will tell you how I tried to figure out if it was true or not. Maybe not one-to-one every resource, because you got to protect some things. But I feel like people think that it is easy to get in front of a microphone or to sit on TV and to talk about any given topic and to make it interesting, to make it factual, and to have a good dynamic and good chemistry. And it is not.
It's hard.
And so I think
and
that
it's even harder to carry a show by yourself.
Facts. So I think that people need to put respect on what people are bringing to the table, because it's not easy. It's not the same as you and your homies talking. No matter how much you think that, it is definitely not. So those are kind of my thoughts on that. When we come forward, we will get into this Tubi movie review. Everything in both, right? Everything in both. So we're going to talk more about that, and we'll see if we can get in the last couple of stories here and there. We'll see. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, earlier in hour one, we had a guest, Noah Watson, who is one of the stars of Everything in Both, a Tubi movie that went number one on Tubi. It actually stars Jason Mitchell, who was on The Chi, and Barton Fitzpatrick. So, Trent, take it away.
Yes, Everything is Both, and he served as an EP as well. So
he was. That's right. Shout out to him as the executive producer.
It was such a phenomenally written movie. There were lots of plot twists that were captivating, enthralling, and I was watching and I was like, I can't watch movies like this because it makes my pressure go up. Right? It's like, a series. How a show and it doesn't stream like at the beginning all the way, so you got to wait every week for a new episode. So it's like, I can't do this. I need 5 at a time. But there were so many twists and turns. It was like I was sitting there watching. It was a good movie. 4.5 popcorn boxes.
Okay.
Out of 5. It was really, really good.
That's that good movie popcorn.
Yeah, and I thought that certain things are going to happen, and I like when I'm watching a movie and I think that I have it figured out because I'm a writer and I think I know where it's going to go, and it takes a totally different turn. There were things that I didn't even see coming. I was like, "Ooh, wait, what?"
Okay.
I liked it. It was a really good story.
And we know that they're out there getting ready for part 2. So
there was a cliffhanger at the end, and the way that it ended, it was like, "Oh, whoa, okay." So I'm glad to know that there's more to the story.
Okay. Coming. To be out there running it. I feel like it is the lifetime for Black women.
Yes, Black people in general.
Black people.
And I think, for the fact that they shot this in 7 to 10 days, the quality was excellent.
Okay. So Everything is Both. It's on Tubi. Check it out. If you guys have any suggestions for what we should watch next week.
I actually do have a Tubi suggestion.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is, and it's but I'll tell you what it is.
Okay, well,
but it's starring our friend Marcus Wayne, Big Marcus.
Who's that? Oh, yes. Shout out to Big Marcus. Okay, yes. All right. So, but we are always looking for new Tubi suggestions. So every week on Wednesdays we review Tubi films. Hit us up if you have one that you want us to check out. Forensic Accountant says, I need my movie on Tubi. How many people can say they have known someone who committed a triangular murder-suicide and 2 serial killers? Is that you, Forensic Accountant?
Forensic.
Right. Right. We're going to need an explanation as to why.
Now you need to slide up into somebody's mind or Jill's DMs. Now, that is a DM I'm going to respond to because I need to know that story. Have you written that story yet?
Right. We need to hear about it. Better yet, you could 800-920-1580. Give us a call and share that, yes. Right now, sometime soon, because we are certainly curious and we want to know if the forensic part.
No, I think that he just digs into accounting.
No, he talked about that. Yeah. He talked about what it is. I'm just being funny, though, because
totally.
Clearly you got some things in your past going on. So, listen, we have talked about a great deal tonight, right? We don't want no scrubs, or at least I don't. Just playing. Listen, Trent.
What's up? How you doing?
As we are leaving... You have known 2 serial killers, Forensic Accountant. Where do you live and what type of life that you are living?
He has to live in Maryland because that's where all the serial killers are.
And here's my next question because, and this is real rap. Oftentimes people always joke about that there aren't that many Black serial killers, but there are. I think I can think of at least 2 or 3, one being the serial rapist. What did they call the sleeper night? It was here in South Central LA. murdered a bunch of black women. So there was that one. There also was the one in D.C., the snipers. So forensic accountant says one was a necrophiliac prostitute murderer and the other was a serial shooter. Was the serial shooter the D.C. shooter? I'm just wondering. Listen, was this someone that you knew before this? Do necrophilia, I feel like that is a certain type of individual, and if you were interested in those type of activities, they show themselves early.
You know,
that's pretty nasty.
Our to-be movie for next week is called 29 to Life.
Okay.
I don't think this is a black Tubi movie, so
that's fine.
It's
Tubi is open to all things. We have just, been primarily focusing on the black content, but we are open to all. So 29 to Life, can we get a little summary?
Let's see. I know that Marcus is in this movie, so that's the reason why we're going to watch it. Life turns around for a luckless loser whose girlfriend just dumped him when he reunites with his irresponsible old friend Madison. So it sounds like a scrub or somebody who makes less than $80,000 a year or something like that.
We're going to get off of monetary restrictions.
So
and
his
That's
girlfriend
unfair.
just dumped him, and then he reunites with his old friend Madison. So let's see what this is about.
Okay, we're going to check that out for next week.
It's a romance comedy.
All right, we like rom-coms.
Yes.
Yay for that. So listen, running it back to a couple of conversations from earlier, right?
Yeah.
So do we think that Remy's wrong? Or we're waiting to see?
Well, we don't know the particulars of anybody's relationship. I think when women cheat, two things are at play. They've either gotten tired of being cheated on, so they want their get back, or they just are exhausted in the situation that they're in, and they need a way out or some type of spice. So, we don't know.
All right, and you are for black women picking love over finance.
I am for people. Yes, I am for people picking love, no matter who they are, because I think love is gonna end up saving everybody eventually, because we don't know what the money situation is gonna do. Right? We can all wake up tomorrow and be victims of crime in our bank accounts, or having all of our money zapped out for whatever reason we don't know. So, what's gonna be the end all be all when we run out of money and don't have any?
You're right. Okay, so really quickly, this is the last story of the night, and I just wanted to drop this because I thought it was funny. So Busta Rhymes, he jumped on the 50 Cent Final Lap tour, right? So at one of the tour stops, Busta was doing Touch It. This was last Friday in St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Is that what that microphone picture was?
Yes, it was. And he placed the microphone near his genitals, and he was rapping the words of the song, right? Well, Fitty, being the troll that he is, said, Busta stole this move from me. I used to do this with Magic Stick 10 years ago, laughing out loud. But now it just feels dirty, inappropriate, and unnecessary. This is giving your old uncle at the barbecue that won't go sit down vibes.
I knew that he was going to bring up Busta's age in this. Totally.
So 50.
Leave Cat Daddy alone.
Busta feeling it again. He like, I just had my performance at the BET Awards. It's 50 hip hop. Let me feel like I'm 28 again.
Brought me out on stage for one night to sing my song with her in history. Yeah, he's having a good year.
Okay, shout out to Busta.
And forensic accountant, please write this book about this murder-suicide with this NFL player, because now I need to know.
He said it was an NFL player?
He sure did.
Oh, my God. He also mentioned that he worked at Walgreens with the necrophiliac. We got to hear the story.
That sounded like in the 90s, and they was developing films together at the thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for locking in VIPs to RSVP with Jill Munroe. We always appreciate it. When we come forward on the other side, you will be listening to the best of KBLA. Make sure that you are locked in at 9 p.m. tomorrow night for another exciting and scintillating conversation here on RSVP with Jill Munroe. Have a great night.
I'm playing Cody, smoking stogies, make the rhythm better. I'm looking good in everything, but she look good in leather. Call me cocky, I love it. Baby father, a sucker. I'm long at denim. I ain't talking no rockin' republic. I don't shop in the public. Ain't finna wait in line. This not a freak though. This easy as a layup line.
If I got time, you got time too. You with a boss, baby, so when I move, you move. Let's have some drinks. Malibu red, how I do.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network.